House Leader of Third Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through you to the Premier, does his vision for British Columbia include returning to individualized funding for parents and caregivers of children with autism?
Minister of Children and Family Development.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. And we know that all children need to have access to the supports and services that are going to help them develop and help them thrive, and they need access to them as early as possible. That's why we're moving towards a needs-based system for children and youth with support needs, because far too many children and youth are being left behind. I have been listening to families, I've been listening to advocates, to service providers.
Shh. Members. 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 Let the Minister answer, please. Minister will continue.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I've been listening to organisations, Indigenous communities, Indigenous leadership, and I have been hearing some concerns, Honourable Speaker, and where I'm hearing concerns, I take those concerns very seriously. I will continue to listen to families, to listen to advocacy groups, to organisations, and we will be working.
Members.
We will be working together, Honourable Speaker, to make sure that we build a system that is more accessible to more children and, crucially, earlier in their development, so that more children and youth across our province will thrive.
House Leader of Third Party Supplemental.
I'm sure the parents and caregivers of children with autism are going to be disappointed that our new Premier doesn't have a different vision than the previous Premier and the Minister. For kids receiving individual support, Mr. Speaker, they have bonded with their service providers. These changes rip them away from their care team. It's cruel, actually, Mr. Speaker. It takes years for parents to find the right service providers for their children, and when they do, those children develop close, personal relationships with their caregivers. Parents have actually described them to us as part of the family. The new hub model doesn't guarantee that those same providers will be available to families. The Ministry of Children and Family Development is once again separating children from their loved ones. These children don't understand government bureaucracy. All they know is that the people that they trust are no longer around them. And it's confusing, it's distressing, and it's traumatizing. It's not difficult to imagine a child in this situation to not internalize this. Autism BC released the results of a survey of 1,500 parents earlier this week. They found 4% of parents. The Minister says that she's listening to the parents. 96% of them want rid of this hub model that she's brought in. More than half want to continue the model that they know works, and that's the individualized funding. Mr. Speaker, through you to the Premier, does his new vision for British Columbia include listening to parents and caregivers with children of autism and committing to returning to the individualized funding?
Members, please. Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It is really important to listen to families. And I have been listening to families, and I will continue to listen to families. And where I'm hearing concerns, Honourable Speaker, I'm taking them very seriously. I hear from a range of families, Honourable Speaker. I hear from parents who say to me, this change cannot come soon enough. There are far too many...
Continue.
There are far too many children and youth who are left behind. we've heard from the representative for children and youth. She has made numerous recommendations that we need to move towards a needs-based system. In fact, there was a select standing committee of this very legislative assembly that made the recommendation that we need to move towards a needs-based system in order...
Members, let the Minister finish her answer, please. That's fine. People can ask another question later. Let her continue.
It is widely recognised that many children and youth with neurodiversity and disabilities are not properly served and are left behind. Indeed, Autism BC, when they came to visit me on Monday this week, agreed with us that we need to change the system in order to meet the needs of more children. And for many children who have a diagnosis of autism, or who are waiting for a diagnosis of autism, are also not able to receive the services that they need. Children and youth with support needs need to be matched up with services that are going to meet their unique needs of them as children as early as possible to help them on their developmental pathway so that they will be able to thrive. Working in a needs-based system means that services will no longer be locked behind a diagnosis. More children will have an access to better access to services earlier in their development, and more children will thrive.